Randall Stuart. Randy Newman is an American singer-songwriter, arranger, composer, and pianist who is known for his distinctive voice, mordant pop songs and for film scores. Since the 1980s, Newman has worked mostly as a film composer. His film scores include Ragtime, Awakenings, The Natural, Leatherheads, James and the Giant Peach, Cats Don't Dance, Meet the Parents, Cold Turkey, Seabiscuit and The Princess and the Frog. He has scored 7 Disney-Pixar films: Toy Story, A Bug's Life, Toy Story 2, Monsters, Incorporated, Cars, Toy Story 3, and most recently, Monsters University. Newman has been nominated for 20 Academy Awards, winning twice. He has also won 3 Emmys, 6 Grammy Awards, and the Governor's Award from the Recording Academy. Newman was inducted into the Songwriters Hall of Fame in 2002. In 2007, he was inducted as a Disney legend. Newman was inducted to the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame in April 2013. Personal life: Newman was born in Los Angeles, California, the son of Adele Dixie Fox, a secretary, and Irving George Newman, an internist. He lived in New Orleans as a small child and spent summers there until he was 11 years old, his family having by then returned to Los Angeles. The paternal side of his family includes 3 uncles who were noted Hollywood film score composers: Alfred Newman, Lionel Newman and Emil Newman. Newman's cousins Thomas, Maria, David, and Joey are also composers for motion pictures. He graduated from University High School in Los Angeles. Newman studied music at the University of California, Los Angeles, but dropped out 1 semester shy of a BA. His parents were both from Jewish families, but Newman's household was not observant. He has since become an atheist. Newman was married to Rosa the Schmale, who was born in Germany, from 1967 to 1985, and they had 3 children. He has been married to Gretchen Priess, with whom he has 2 children, since 1990. Gretchen's father is director Michael Priess. Newman endorsed Democratic President Barack Obama for re-election in 2012. Songwriter: Newman has been a professional songwriter since he was 17. He cites Ray Charles as his greatest influence growing up, stating, "I love Charles' music to excess." His first single as a performer was 1962's Golden Gridiron Boy, released when he was 18. The single flopped and Newman chose to concentrate on songwriting and arranging for the next several years. In various interviews, Newman has credited the Fleetwoods with giving him his first national break. The trio recorded his song, "They Tell Me It's Summer," as the B-side of one of their 11 hit singles, giving Newman great exposure and royalties. 2 decades later, the Fleetwoods founder and manager, female lead vocalist arranger Gretchen Christopher, selected from their recordings 2 more of Newman's songs to be included among 10 previously unreleased masters, for their 13th album. The Fleetwoods' A Buried Treasure LP and cassette, released in 1982, included Newman's "Who's Gonna Teach You About Love," and "Ask Him If He's Got a Friend for Me." His early songs were recorded by Gene Pitney, Jerry Butler, Petula Clark, Dusty Springfield, Jackie DeShannon, Theo Hayes and Irma Thomas, among others. His work as a songwriter met with particular success in the UK. Top 40 UK hits written by Newman included Cilla Black's "I've Been Wrong Before," Gene Pitney's "Nobody Needs Your Love," and "Just One Smile." And the Alan Price set Simon Smith and His Amazing Dancing Bear. Price, who was enjoying great success in England at the time, championed Newman by featuring 7 Randy Newman songs on his 1967 A Price on His Head album. In the mid-1960s, Newman was briefly a member of the band The Tickers, who later became Harper's Bazaar, best known for their 1967 hit version of the Paul Simon composition The 59th Street Bridge Song. Newman kept a close musical relationship with Harper's Bazaar, offering them some of his own compositions, including Simon Smith, and Happier Land. The band recorded 6 Newman compositions during their short initial career. In this period, Newman began a long professional association with childhood friend Lenny Aronka. Aronka had been hired to produce The Tickers, The Beau Brummels, and The Mojo Men, who were all contracted to the Los Angeles independent label Autumn Records, and he in turn brought in Newman, Leon Russell and another friend, pianist-arranger Van Dyke Parks, to play on recording sessions. Later in 1966 Aronka was hired as an A&R manager by Warner Brothers Records, and his friendship with Newman, Russell, and Parks began a creative circle around Aronka at Warner Brothers. That became one of the keys to Warner Brothers' subsequent success as a rock music label. Randy Newman recently endorsed jazz singer Rosanna Vitro's album, The Randy Newman Project. Recording artist. His 1968 debut album, Randy Newman, was a critical success but never dented the Billboard Top 200. Many artists, including Alan Price, Van Dyke Parks, Dave Van Ronk, Judy Collins, Cass Elliot, Art Garfunkel, the Everly Brothers, Claudine Longett, Dusty Springfield, Nina Simone, Lynn Anderson, Wilson Pickett, Pat Boone and Peggy Lee, covered his songs, and I Think It's Going to Rain Today became an early standard. In 1969, he did the orchestral arrangements for Peggy Lee's single Is That All There Is, as well as her album with the same title. In 1970, Harry Nilsson recorded an entire album of Newman compositions called Nilsson Sings Newman. The album was not a commercial success, but critics liked it, and it paved the way for Newman's 1970 release, 12 Songs, a more stripped-down sound that showcased Newman's piano, Wyckoff's slide guitar and contributions from Byrds members Gene Parsons and Clarence White helped to give the album a much rootsier feel. 12 Songs was also critically acclaimed, but again found little commercial success, though Three Dog Night made a huge hit of His Mama Told Me Not to Come. The following year, Randy Newman Live cemented his cult following and became his first LP to appear in the Billboard charts, at number 191. Newman also made his first foray into music for films at this time, writing and performing the theme song He Gives Us All His Love for Norman Lear's 1971 film Cold Turkey. 1972's Sail Away reached number 163 on Billboard, with the title track making its way into the repertoire of Ray Charles and Linda Ronstadt. You Can Leave Your Hat On enigmatically touches on what it is men find important in relationships, and was covered by Three Dog Night, then Joe Cocker, and later by Keb Mo, Etta James, Tom Jones, and the Quay Copyright Bar Copyright Qua singer Garu. The album also featured Burn On, an ode to an infamous incident in which the heavily polluted Cuyahoga River literally caught fire. In 1989, Burn On was used as the opening theme to the film Major League, whose focus was the hapless Cleveland Indians. His 1974 release Good Old Boys was a set of songs about the American South. Rednecks began with a description of segregationist Lester Maddox pitted against a smart-ass New York Jew on a TV show, in a song that criticizes both Southern racism and the complacent bigotry of Americans outside of the South who stereotype all Southerners as racist yet ignore racism in northern and midwestern states and large cities. This ambiguity was also apparent on Kingfish, and Every Man a King, the former a paean to Huey Long, the other a campaign song written by Long himself. An album that received lavish critical praise, Good Old Boys also became a commercial breakthrough for Newman, peaking at number 36 on Billboard and spending 21 weeks in the top 200. Little Criminals contained the surprise hit Short People, which also became a subject of controversy. In September 1977, the British music magazine NME reported the following interview with Newman talking about his then-new release. There's one song about a child murderer, Newman deadpans. That's fairly optimistic. Maybe. There's one called Jolly Coppers on Parade which isn't an absolutely anti-police song. Maybe it's even a fascist song. I didn't notice at the time. There's also one about me as a cowboy called Rider in the Rain. I think it's ridiculous. The Eagles are on there. That's what's good about it. There's also this song Short People. It's purely a joke. I like other ones on the album better but the audiences go for that one. The album proved Newman's most popular to date, reaching number 9 on the US Billboard 200 chart. 1979's Born Again featured a song satirically mythologizing the Electric Light Orchestra entitled The Story of a Rock and Roll Band. His 1983 album Trouble in Paradise included the hit single I Love LA, a song that has been interpreted as both praising and criticizing the city of Los Angeles. This ambivalence is borne out by Newman's own comments on the song. As he explained in a 2001 interview, "There's some kind of ignorance LA has that I'm proud of. The open car and the redhead, the Beach Boys. That sounds really good to me." The ABC network and Frank Gehry Productions transformed I Love LA into a popular 1980s TV promotional campaign, retooling the lyrics and title to You'll Love It. The song is played at home games for the Los Angeles Dodgers and Los Angeles Lakers, and the Los Angeles Kings use the song along with their goal horn. In 2003, Newman's song It's a Jungle Out There was used for Season 2 of the USA Network's show Monk. It won him the 2004 Emmy Award for Best Main Title Music. In the years following Trouble in Paradise, Newman focused more on film work, but his personal life entered a difficult period. He separated from his wife of nearly 20 years, Rositha, and was diagnosed with Epstein-Barr virus. He has released 3 albums of new material as a singer-songwriter since that time, Land of Dreams, Bad Love, and Harps and Angels, which was released on August 5, 2008. Land of Dreams included one of his best-known songs, It's Money That Matters, and featured Newman's first stab at autobiography with Dixie Flyer, and Four Eyes, while Bad Love included I Miss You, a moving tribute to his ex-wife. He has also re-recorded a number of songs that span his career, accompanying himself on piano, with the Randy Newman Songbook Volume 1 and the Randy Newman Songbook Volume 2. He continues to perform his songs before live audiences as a touring concert artist. In the aftermath of Hurricane Katrina, Newman's Louisiana, 1927 became an anthem and was played heavily on a wide range of American radio and television stations, in both Newman's 1974 original and Aaron Neville's cover version of the song. The song addresses the deceitful manner in which New Orleans's municipal government managed a flood in 1927, during which, as Newman asserts, the guys who ran the Mardi Gras, the bosses in New Orleans, decided the course of that flood. You know, they cut a hole in the levee and it flooded the cotton fields. In a related performance, Newman contributed to the 2007 release of Goin' Home, a tribute to Fats Domino, contributing his version of Domino's Blue Monday. Domino had been rescued from his New Orleans home after Hurricane Katrina, initially having been feared dead. Film composer, Newman's work as a film composer began in 1971, with his work on the Norman Lear satire Cold Turkey. He returned to film work with 1981's Ragtime, for which he was nominated for 2 Academy Awards. Newman co-wrote the 1986 film A Three Amigos with Steve Martin and Lorne Michaels, wrote 3 songs for the film, and provided the voice for the singing Bush. His orchestral film scores resemble the work of Elmer Bernstein and Maurice Jarre. Newman has scored 7 Disney-Pixar feature films: Toy Story, A Bug's Life, Toy Story 2, Monsters, Incorporated, Cars, Toy Story 3, and Monsters University. He has earned at least 1 Academy Award nomination for each of the films he has scored for Pixar, winning the award for Monsters, Incorporated and Toy Story 3, both times in the category of Best Original Song. Additional scores by Newman include Avalon, Parenthood, James and the Giant Peach, Seabiscuit, Awakenings, The Paper, Meet the Parents, and its sequel, Meet the Fockers. His score for Pleasantville was an Academy Award nominee. He also wrote the songs for Turner's Cats Don't Dance. One of Newman's most iconic and recognizable works is the central theme to The Natural, a dramatic and Oscar-nominated score, which was described by reviewer David Ansen of Newsweek as Coplandsk. A shortened version of this score is used as entrance music by Billy Joel at the start of his shows. Newman had the dubious distinction of receiving the most Oscar nominations without a single win. His losing streak was broken when he received the Academy Award for Best Original Song in 2001, for the Monsters, Incorporated song If I Didn't Have You, beating Sting, Enya and Paul McCartney. After receiving a standing ovation, a bemused but emotional Newman began his acceptance speech with I Don't Want Your Pity. When the orchestra began playing the underscore signifying that the speaker's time on stage is concluding, Newman ordered them to stop before thanking all these musicians, many of whom have worked for me a number of times and may not again. Besides writing songs for films, he also writes songs for television series such as the Emmy Award-winning current theme song of Monk, It's a Jungle Out There. Newman also composed the Emmy Award-winning song, When I'm Gone for the final episode. Newman wrote the music for the Walt Disney movie The Princess and the Frog. During the Walt Disney Company's annual shareholder meeting in March 2007, Newman performed a new song written for the movie. He was accompanied by the Dirty Dozen Brass Band. The New Orleans setting of the film played to Newman's musical strengths, and his songs contained elements of Cajun music, Zydeco, blues and Dixieland jazz. Two of the songs, Almost There, and Down in New Orleans, were nominated for Oscars. In total, Newman has received 20 Oscar nominations with 2 wins, both for Best Original Song. While accepting the award for We Belong Together in 2011, he joked, "My percentages aren't great." Filmography: A Three Amigos. The Singing Bush, also writer, Toy Story, musical theater. A review of Newman's songs, titled Maybe I'm Doing It Wrong, was performed at the Astor Place Theater in New York City in 1982, and later at other theaters around the country. The New York cast featured Mark Linn-Baker and Deborah Rush, and at one point included Treat Williams. In the 1990s, Newman adapted Goethe's Faust into a concept album and musical, Randy Newman's Faust. After a 1995 staging at the La Jolla Playhouse, he retained David Mamet to help rework the book before its relaunch on the Chicago Goodman Theatre main stage in 1996. Newman's Faust project had been many years in the making, and it suffered for it. A central joke was Newman's depiction of Faust as a shallow heavy metal music fan enthralled to Satan, and this had to be modified to accommodate the less-than-devil-obsessed age of grunge rock that was in fashion by 1995. In 2000, South Coast Repertory produced The Miseducation of Randy Newman, a musical theater piece that recreates the life of a songwriter who bears some resemblance to the actual Newman. Set in New Orleans and Los Angeles, it was modeled on the celebrated American autobiography, The Education of Henry Adams. Newman, together with Jerry Patch and Michael Rath, surveyed Newman's songs to find those that, taken together, depict the life of an American artist in the last half of the 20th century. After its premiere at SCR, it was reworked with additional songs written specifically for the show by Newman and presented in Seattle by ACT. In 2010, the Center Theatre Group staged Harps and Angels, a musical review of the Randy Newman songbook, interspersed with narratives reflecting on Newman's inspirations. The review premiered at the Mark Taper Forum in Los Angeles and included among other songs I Think It Unregistered Trademark S Going to Rain Today, Sail Away, Marie, Louisiana, 1927, Feels Like Home, You've Got a Friend in Me, and I Love L.A. The review was directed by Jerry Zaks and featured Ryder Bach, Storm Large, Adrienne Lennox, Michael McKean, Katie Sagal and Matthew Soldivar. Notable performances and appearances. In 1985 Newman performed a set at the first Farm Aid concert that featured a duet with Billy Joel on Facing Grand Pianos. Newman performed Sail Away. In 2000, Newman hosted a PBS special on Sunset Boulevard, in his native Los Angeles. Driving a convertible, he followed the road from the Amtrak train station downtown, through Silver Lake, on past his alma mater UCLA, and finished in Santa Monica. Randy Newman appeared on The Colbert Report on October 9, 2006, performing political science after his interview. At the end of the performance Stephen Colbert said, "I hope they're listening in D.C." This appearance came days after North Korea conducted an underground test of a nuclear weapon. Newman appeared on the season 2 finale of the sitcom Third Rock from the Sun, accompanying the character Harry Solomon's performance of Life Has Been Good to Me on piano in a dream sequence. He appeared as a musical guest at the end of the keynote address at Macworld's 2008 San Francisco Macworld Expo, performing the songs A Few Words in Defense of Our Country, and You've Got a Friend in Me. Newman appeared as a musical guest on the second episode of NBC's Saturday Night Live in 1975, on the show's Mardi Gras special in 1977, and again on December 8, 1979. In June 2010, Newman was honored with a star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame. Monty Python's Eric Idle presented at the ceremony. In February 2013, Newman performed at the public memorial for Dr. Jerry Buss, the longtime owner of the LA Lakers. Newman's I Love LA has served as an unofficial anthem to LA sports teams. Buss' memorial service was at LA's Nokia Theatre where Oscar winner Newman took to the stage to sing his hit You've Got a Friend in Me. Discography Albums, Randy Newman, 12 songs, Randy Newman Live, Sail Away, Good Old Boys, Little Criminals, Born Again, Trouble in Paradise, Land of Dreams, Randy Newman's Faust, Bad Love, Harps and Angels, Live in London, Compilations, Lonely at the Top, The Best of Randy Newman, Guilty, 30 Years of Randy Newman, The Best of Randy Newman, The Randy Newman Songbook Volume 1, The Randy Newman Songbook Volume 2, Other Contributions, Goin' Home, A Tribute to Fats Domino, Film Scores, Performance, Cold Turkey, Ragtime, The Natural, A Three Amigos. Parenthood, Major League, Awakenings, Avalon, The Paper, Maverick, Toy Story, James and the Giant Peach, Michael, Bean, Cats Don't Dance, A Bug's Life, Babe, Pig in the City, Pleasantville, Toy Story 2, Meet the Parents, Jurassic Park 3, Monsters, Incorporated. Seabiscuit, Meet the Fockers, Cars, Leatherheads, The Princess and the Frog, Toy Story 3, Monsters University, Awards and Honors, Academy Award, 2011, winner a Euro Best Original Song a Euro We Belong Together a Euro Toy Story 3, 2010, nominee a Euro Best Original Song a Euro Almost There a Euro The Princess and the Frog, 2010, nominee a Euro Best Original Song a Euro Down in New Orleans a Euro The Princess and the Frog, 2007, nominee a Euro Best Original Song a Euro Our Town a Euro Cars, 2002, winner a Euro Best Original Song a Euro If I Didn't Have You a Euro Monsters, Incorporated, 2002, nominee a Euro Best Original Score a Euro Monsters, Incorporated, 2001, nominee a Euro Best Original Song a Euro A Fool in Love a Euro Meet the Parents, 2000, nominee a Euro Best Original Song a Euro, When She Loved Me a Euro Toy Story 2, 1999, nominee a Euro Best Original Dramatic Score a Euro Pleasantville, 1999, nominee a Euro Best Original Musical or Comedy Score a Euro A Bug's Life, 1999. Nominee a Euro Best Original Song a Euro That'll Do a Euro Babe, Pig in the City, 1997, nominee a Euro Best Musical or Comedy Score a Euro James and the Giant Peach, 1996, nominee a Euro Best Original Song a Euro You've Got a Friend in Me a Euro Toy Story, 1996, nominee a Euro Best Original Musical or Comedy Score a Euro Toy Story, 1995, nominee a Euro Best Original Song a Euro Make Up Your Mind a Euro The Paper, 1991, nominee a Euro Best Original Score a Euro Avalon, 1990, nominee a Euro Best Original Song a Euro I Love to See You Smile a Euro Parenthood, 1985, nominee a Euro Best Original Score a Euro The Natural, 1982, nominee a Euro Best Original Score a Euro Ragtime, 1982, nominee a Euro Best Original Song a Euro One More Hour a Euro Ragtime. Golden Globe, 2000, nominee a Euro Best Original Song a Euro, When She Loved Me a Euro Toy Story 2, 1999, nominee a Euro Best Original Score a Euro A Bug's Life, 1996, nominee a Euro Best Original Song a Euro You've Got a Friend in Me a Euro Toy Story, 1991, nominee a Euro Best Original Score a Euro Avalon, 1990, nominee a Euro Best Original Song a Euro I Love to See You Smile a Euro Parenthood, 1982, nominee a Euro Best Original Song a Euro One More Hour a Euro Ragtime. Grammy, 2011, winner a Euro Best Score Soundtrack Album a Euro Toy Story 3, 2011, nominee a Euro Best Song Written for a Motion Picture, Television or Other Visual Media a Euro Down in New Orleans a Euro The Princess and the Frog, 2007, winner a Euro Best Song Written for a Motion Picture, Television or Other Visual Media Euro Our Town a Euro Cars, 2004, nominee a Euro Best Score Soundtrack Album a Euro Seabiscuit, 2003, winner a Euro Best Song Written for a Motion Picture, Television or Other Visual Media Euro If I Didn't Have You a Euro Monsters, Incorporated, 2003, nominee a Euro Best Score Soundtrack Album a Euro Monsters, Incorporated, 2001, winner a Euro Best Song Written for a Motion Picture, Television or Other Visual Media Euro, When She Loved Me a Euro Toy Story 2, 2001, nominee a Euro Best Score Soundtrack Album a Euro Toy Story 2, 2000, winner a Euro Best Instrumental Composition a Euro A Bug's Life, 2000, nominee a Euro Best Song Written for a Motion Picture, Television or Other Visual Media. A Euro The Time of Your Life a Euro A Bug's Life, 1992, nominee a Euro Best Instrumental Composition a Euro Avalon, 1992, nominee a Euro Best Instrumental Composition a Euro Awakenings, 1990, nominee a Euro Best Song Written for a Motion Picture, Television or Other Visual Media Euro Parenthood, 1985, winner a Euro Best Instrumental Composition a Euro The Natural, 1983, nominee a Euro Best Album of Original Score a Euro Ragtime. Emmy, 2010, winner a Euro Original Music and Lyrics a Euro Monk, 2004, winner a Euro Main Title Theme Music a Euro Monk, 1991, winner a Euro Achievement in Music and Lyrics a Euro Cop Rock. Annie Award, 2007, winner a Euro Music in an Animated Feature Production a Euro Cars, 2003, nominee a Euro Music in an Animated Feature Production a Euro Monsters, Incorporated, 2000, winner a Euro Music in an Animated Feature Production a Euro Toy Story 2, 1997, winner a Euro Music in an Animated Feature Production a Euro Cats Don't Dance, 1996, winner a Euro Music in an Animated Feature Production a Euro Toy Story. BAFTA Award, 1983, nominee a Euro Original Song a Euro One More Hour a Euro Ragtime. Chicago Film Critics Association Award, 1999, nominee a Euro Original Score a Euro A Bug's Life, 1996, winner a Euro Original Score a Euro Toy Story. Los Angeles Film Critics Association Award, 1981, winner a Euro Music a Euro Ragtime. Online Film Critics Society Award, 1999, winner a Euro Original Score a Euro Pleasantville. References. External links, official website, Randy Newman at the Internet Movie Database, Randy Newman at the Songwriters Hall of Fame, Randy Newman, American Dreams, Kevin Courier ISBN 1-55022-690-8, interview with Randy Newman on the art of songwriting, Randy Newman in NPR's All Songs Considered, Randy Newman at Move Guide, Randy Newman at NNDB.